Hi guys, and welcome back to the channel. Today we're featuring Bremont. This actual watch is their entry level piece. It's part of the Bremont Broadsword range, which is the military inspired watch range. And it's quite an interesting watch, to be fair. But before I start, I've got to say a big thank you to Ryan and the team over at Francis Gaye of Coventry for allowing me to review this watch. They've got such a large selection of watches in their shop. It's worth popping in if you're based in the Midlands. Go in, see what they've got, have a coffee, sit down with the team, yeah, that kind of thing. If not, and you're too far afield to pop in, go online. And I dare say that Ryan will be able to sort you out a deal and get you a watch out to you ASAP. So, as I say, this is the Broadsword. This, I say, there's a whole host of variations. Obviously, you can get this on a bracelet. You can also get a chrono version. You can get a rotating internal bezel. You can even get the watches in, I believe it's bronze. But this is the steel model. I say this is the entry level. So this gets, I believe this costs around about £2,595. So this is the cheapest watch, but Bremont, well, let's not say cheap. This is their entry level piece. And it's quite a nice watch. Let's get into the sizes first. We're talking a 40mm case by 12.3 millimeters thick and 47mm lug to lug. The bandwidth on this is 20mm. Now, let's have a little look at that dial. The dial has this inspired, what's the word for it? Back in the period of the war, the Second World War, there was what was called the Dirty Dozen, and they were a bunch of watches from different manufacturers who basically made it to a certain spec, a little bit like Larco and their Luftwaffe watches. They do. This was more the Allies version of their watches, and they've done a really nice job of it, to be fair. The dial itself, I love this kind of, it's more a matte finish, but it just looks really right, especially with the hands. It reminds me somewhat of my Panerai, the way the black of the hands and the black of the dial all works together. You do have the small seconds down there at the 6 o'clock position, and I do like the way how they put London at the bottom, which is a nice touch. And I must say, the logo at the top, I think it's just such a classy logo, the Bremont, with their propeller blade there. I think it really does look nice. Underneath there, you'll see HMAF, and that stands for Her Majesty's Armed Forces. And it's just a really clean, concise dial. It's just nice. Everything just seems to work on this dial. Even the date window at 3 o'clock, which is so slightly framed, but also is on a black background. So it all just blends seamlessly into the watch. The watch has got lume. I wouldn't say it's the strongest lume out there, but it does do its job. Now, as we come round, we have a dome sapphire crystal, which just looks stunning in there, and at certain angles it does a great job of magnifying that dial and giving you a bit more kind of, more interesting views of the dial. Now, as we come round, the case, it is supposed to be hardened steel, but I don't know how hard it is. I couldn't find any literature to actually tell me the actual hardness, so it would have been interesting. It has this really nice satinized finish going across, and it has these kind of nice beveling going along it, oh so subtle across the top there, and a lot wider there. And I love the fluting they've done on the side there. It just gives it makes it look thinner, and it gives you just a bit more decoration to the case. Instead of studying the thickness of a watch, your eye tends to go towards these flutes, and it is quite an interesting look. Then we get round to this side, we have their beautiful crown there with their logo, and I think that is it just looks really nice, and I love the crown action on this. As you can see, we can start unscrewing it, and it pops out. You get an audible pop on that, and I like this big chunky kind of, you don't see the stem at all, you just see this nice chunky shank to the crown, and I think it makes it look more rugged. The watch does actually have 100 meters of water resistance, and it just kind of works. Now, as we go around the back here, we have a very nice engraved screw down case back on this, and they've done an extremely nice job. It really is very clear, legible what they've done, and I just think it does look the part. Now, what we can see here is chronometer. So this watch is accurate. Actually, the movement used is what they call the BE952AV. Now, that basically, I believe, is a Solita SW260. So it beats at 8 beats, 38-hour power reserve, but most importantly, it is a chronometer spec. I did put this on the time grapher earlier, and it did admirably. I think it was around about two seconds or so a day, and I think it's lovely. It is a 31 dual movement. It is almost a shame you can't see the movement, as I would like to have seen it, but that's just my personal taste. Now, as we come out here, the strap. Now, I say this is the entry model, so you get this khaki strap. It is actually very nice and soft. Some khaki straps I find are not so forgiving. This one has the nice leather on the back, and it does feel nice and soft. All marked up here. The actual pin and buckle is lovely. How they've engraved it there, very classy, very nice. 2 keepers, 1 sewn. Now, it's one of these. You can also get this watch on a bracelet, or you can just swap it over for, you know, a strap of your choosing. I say it's a 20mm strap, and you could change this onto whatever. One thing I would like to point out is you notice how the strap is actually curved. It doesn't go all the way up to the case, but it does conform to the same radius as the actual case does. And I think that, again, is just, it's attention to detail, which just helps. Let me put this on my wrist, and we'll see how it looks. I'm wearing a Seiko Alpinist at the moment. Now, one thing I should point out also about this watch is, let me zoom out a bit there, it comes with a 3-year warranty, though I believe it can be extended, but I'm not 100% sure on that. And one of the nice things they actually do, which I think is actually kind of cool, is if you're a member of the armed forces or a veteran, they will, I believe, offer you a 15% discount, which I think is it's good of them to do. As you can see there, it just looks superb. Now, my wrist size is a 7 1/4, and I think it looks right on there completely. So that's just my take on it, but I do quite like this watch. It just has a lovely kind of, it just feels right. I say, even when you're winding the watch, it's incredibly smooth. So let me know what you think about the watch, and I will say, leave any comments. I'll always try and get back to you. Okay, all the best, and I'll see you in the next review. Take care. Bye.